Now we are hearing reaction from Georgia lawmakers to former President Trump's acquittal. The Peach State also mentioned in some senators' decision to convict. Joe Ripley live in Midtown Atlanta for us this morning. Joe, 11 Alive. We are where Atlanta speaks, and our viewers are weighing in this morning.
You're right, Christy. Thousands of comments, thousands of reactions to our social media posts on Facebook, Twitter, what have you, in response to the acquittal of former President Donald Trump. Let's show you some of those right now. Pamela Walter sharing our post saying, quote, coming back stronger. You've got the other side represented as well. Brian McWilliams commenting, quote, with the acquittal on impeachment articles, we got a foreshadowing of a very ugly and sad future. Loretta Ruther commented, hate never wins. What's fair for one speech, encouragement of harm fair for all. Everyone needs to stop this hate. Gary Granderson believing the ex-president's legal troubles have just begun. And Ed Whitfield said, we better believe him. He's already proved that he is truly Teflon Don. Reaction from some of Georgia's elected officials as well. Senior Senator John Ossoff said former President Trump's disgrace is total and his apologists in Congress are marked by history. Reverend Raphael Warnock, the junior senator from Georgia, tweeting, if Donald Trump's actions were not impeachable, then nothing is. The people have been done a grave disservice, but somehow we must begin to turn the page and continue the people's work. Finally, you've got Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of Trump's strongest supporters, simply tweeting, quote, hashtag acquitted. Want to note a couple of Republican senators, Ben Sasse of Nebraska, Mitt Romney of Utah, cited the pressuring of current Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger by Trump in factoring in to their decision to vote to convict former President Trump. Of course, we want to hear from you. Feel free to comment on all of our social media platforms in response to former President Trump's acquittal.
Christy. All right, Joe, thank you very much.